any time in this week's portion it talks about a person who finds himself in difficult financial state and needs to borrow money. And the Torah says, the Creator says, even if you lend somebody money because they're in a difficult state, lo tiyeh lo kenoshe. Don't act, even in your consciousness, don't think that you're doing them a favor, don't be difficult towards them. Because anytime an individual, as we spoke of just before, feels loss, it's talking about physical, monetary loss, but of course it's any type of darkness, any type of challenge that a person experiences. And this brings the individual to worry and to depression. And because of that, he feels he needs other people to, in the case of financial difficulties, he needs people to lend him money because he's in a difficult state. You have to understand what's the spiritual reason behind that sense of lack or loss. It's only because the individual is under the effects of time. We know, as Rav Ashlag tells us, that in the true spiritual state there is no time. What does alone mean? Alone means a person says, right now it's very difficult, but I know in a month, in 6 months, whatever amount of time, things will get better. But for the time being, I need alone because things are bad now, and I know things will probably be better in 4 months or in 6 months, but for this time, because a person doesn't go to a guy who says, lend me money, I'm never going to pay you back, right? He goes to a person, he says, right now it's bad, but it's going to get better. So for the time of the bad, I need your help. That's time, right? Because if a person, if you weren't under the control of time, and you know that in 6 months things will be better, then you're already there. But if you don't, if you're under the control of time, which unfortunately most of us are, then there's the dark times, and you have to get through the dark times to get to the good times. But it's important to understand that at its core, that what is causing any pain, what is causing any lack, is the fact that the individual, that we, are still under the control of time. What is the purpose of all of our spiritual work? Which we know right now within this physical world we are under the control of time and space. The spiritual work is to get to a state where we, even though we are still within the realm of time and space, we connect to the realm, the light of the Creator, the endless light, which is above time and space. What happened from the moment of creation, from the moment of the creation of the world? Time and space came into being. In the true spiritual state, there is no time and space. What's the purpose of all of our spiritual work? To stop being controlled by time and space. So how do you stop being controlled by time and space? It's relatively simple. Most of us know, and this is a truth, that if Chas v'Shalom a person goes through a very difficult time, something happens, something very negative. Almost always, again, except in some instances, but for the most part, probably 99% of the things that upset or challenge the individual, the pain that the individual feels on the first day is not what he feels on the second day. And what he feels on the second day is not what he feels on the third day. And a year from then, and 5 years from then, 10 years from then, he won't even remember that thing that 10 years ago he thought was the greatest darkness he'd ever experienced. So what causes pain? Time. If a person, there was no difference between now and 10 years from now or 50 years from now, then you wouldn't feel pain. But you're still under the control of time. Time, by the way, is related to the desire to receive for the self alone. So philosophically, it's good to know, I don't want to be controlled by time. But you know what? As long as you're controlled by your desire to receive for the self alone, you're going to be controlled by time. So it's not enough to know this, that the only thing that causes us pain is being still constricted by time and space. You have to know what constricts you within time and space. The fact that you're still connected to your desire to receive for the self alone. Because the desire to receive for the self alone was created in the time of the creation of our world. Darkness was created in the time of the creation of our world. So time and the desire to receive for the self alone are intertwined. If a person removes himself, to the degree that an individual removes him or herself from the control of his or her desire to receive for the self alone, then he is also able to remove himself from the control of time. and from the pain that necessarily comes with time. But first, it begins with this understanding. And again, it's true. Sometimes, I take the time. I like you look through old newspapers and you see, like from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, what the headline was, and people and this and that. 30 years later, nobody cares. So the pain is often in the moment, and then it diminishes over time. So much so that again, sometimes a year later, or 10 years later, or 50 years later, whatever amount of time is necessary, that pain no longer exists, which is a clear indication that pain and time are connected. And as long as an individual is under the control of time, he or she is under the control of pain. So the spiritual work is to elevate the world within which we reside, ourselves, outside of the realm of time, to connect it to the realm that was before, that is above time, not even before time, of course, but above time, the realm of what's called the endless world. Rav Ashlag says, Ein zman tnu'a u'makom, but there is no time in that state. But the only way to get there, to the degree that the individual completely removes from him or herself a connection to the desire to receive for the self alone. Because there's an exact correlation between the control of time and space on the individual and the amount of pain that he or she will experience. But then we understand again, as we said, that the way to diminish pain and ultimately completely remove it is by diminishing the control of time. And the way to diminish the control of time is by the individual diminishing the control of the desire to receive for the self alone on it, number one. And of course, related to that, time also damages certainty. Time damages certainty. Because in truth, the light of the Creator, mashpia shif'o hatov tamid bli hefsek rega. The light of the Creator is constantly flowing down light and blessings in this moment. So a person in this moment is feeling pain, darkness, lack. But in that same moment, the endless light of the Creator is showering him or her with all of light, with the totality of light. So why isn't he experiencing it? But because the individual is still residing under the realm of time, therefore, even though the Creator has sent down everything this person needs to remove all pain and all darkness and all challenges, the individual who's still under the control of time has to wait for it to trickle down, because he or she is saying, I still live within the realm of time, and therefore any blessings, even though in the endless world they're sent down immediately, the individual has to take the time. It will take time for the individual to feel it, to experience it. And therefore, unfortunately, for most people, most of the world, 99.9% of the world, they experience their blessings over time. It takes time. Even in business, you have to build a business. Even in spiritual work, it takes time. Everything takes time. But that's not the true state. Time is part of the darkness of this world. ומחמת זה עיקר הדאגה, מחמת שלפעמים מתעכב השפע, מסיבת הזמן והמקום. Most worries and most doubts and most pain and most darkness comes from the fact that the individual is still under the control of time. So two things. Time is the cause of pain. Time is intertwined with the desire to receive for the self alone. Time is intertwined with lack of certainty. So to the degree that an individual is still enveloped by his or her desire to receive for the self alone and not doing everything that they can to get rid of their selfish desire to receive for the self alone, they stay under the control of time, which necessarily means under the control of lack and under the control of pain. Lack of certainty also keeps the individual within the realm of time. וכל מה שדואג ביותר ומתייגע ביותר, and the more a person worries, אזי נאחז ונתקשר ביותר בבחינת זמן ומקום. Then he ties himself more to time, because what does worry mean? Oh, what if this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and that's going to happen? What's all that? That's time. So the more a person lacks certainty, the more a person worries, he actually binds himself even more strongly to time. The more strongly a person is bound to time, the more darkness he or she experiences. ונתרחק ביותר מבחינת שורש השפע, שנמשכת מבחינת למעלה מהזמן והמקום. When you understand that all light and all blessings come from the realm that is not connected to time, and that you have a choice to make, and this is really the purpose of the spiritual work, to leave the realm of time. Time means lack, time means worry. So there's three things you have to do in order to leave the realm of time and enter the realm that ein zman tnu'a u'makom, where there is no time, there's no space. One, understand that every action of desire to receive for the self alone, every selfish action brings you further, because it's not just that you're either in time or not time. How far deep do you want to be in the darkness of time? Every action of desire to receive for the self alone, every selfish action puts you further into the darkness of time. Every time you lack certainty, you bring yourself closer, deeper into the realm of time. Anytime you worry, you bring yourself further into the darkness of time. Because again, all those thoughts of worry, of lack of certainty, have to do with time. So the only way to accomplish our spiritual work, and our spiritual work isn't to bring blessings into the realm of time, but rather to elevate ourselves outside the realm of time and space and be connected to the blessings that already exist. Again, because the light of the Creator showered everything, that any lack that you have and any worry that you have and anything that you're feeling, everything is taken care of already. Of course, you can't feel it yet, because as long as you're connected to the realm of time, it's going to take a day or a week or a month or 10 years until it slowly trickles into your space of time. But the spiritual work is to get out of the realm of time, and to connect to the blessings and clarity and light that already exists. 3 ways to do that. 1, understand that every action of selfishness and desire to receive for the self alone brings you further in and further away, therefore, from the light that you want. Every lack of certainty brings you further into the realm of time and further away from the blessings that already exist for you. And 3rd, the more you worry, the more you go into those da'agot, into those worries, the more you're entrenching yourself further and further, deeper and deeper into the realm of time, making it more and more difficult for the light and the blessings to actually come to you. Very important. אזי נאחז ונתקשר ביותר בבחינת זמן ומקום, ונתרחק ביותר מבחינת שורש, שנמשכת מבחינת למעלה מהזמן והמקום. Every time an individual worries, anytime an individual, the more a person worries, the more he deepens himself into the whole of time, further away from the realm where the blessings already exist, where the light is already revealed. Related to this, and related to everything we said earlier, there's a verse in Kohelet, B'yom tova heye betov. It says, on days where things are going well and things are good, enjoy it, or being good. U'b'yom ra'a re'eh. And on the bad days, it says, see, or look. B'yom tova heye betov. And when things are going well, when things are going good, enjoy it, or be in the goodness. U'b'yom ra'a re'eh. And in the days when things are going darkly, going negatively, look. Because the Creator created both light and darkness. That's the verse. What is it? What is the secret of that verse? In truth, as we said earlier, within every element of darkness, there is great light. Within every ra'ah, within every element of darkness, there is great light. But because the forces of darkness have the strength to conceal the goodness within them, and therefore the individual doesn't see them and doesn't experience them. But an individual is able to completely destroy his desire to receive for the self alone, his selfishness. He or she is able to completely see and reveal the light that is within those days of darkness. If a person is not pushing himself with strength and with vigor to break his or her desire to receive for the self alone, then he forces He forces the goodness to be concealed by the dark, what's called the dark days. Because what King Solomon, Shlomo Melech, is telling us, in the days of goodness, enjoy them. In the days of darkness, focus and push yourself to be able to see the light that is within there. In the darkness, there's always light. The Creator never creates only darkness or only light. Everything is created with that duality. The work is to be able to even biyom ra'ah re'eh, even in the days and times when there's darkness revealed, have the ability to go deeper and see the goodness that's within there, knowing it's not possible. It's not possible that something's only dark. It's not possible. In every creation, there is the light and there's the darkness. Most of us don't believe that. Most of us think, okay, this is biyom tovah betov. We take it literally. It means there's good days, biyom ra'ah re'eh. Bad days, just experience the bad. No, King Solomon says, focus on the goodness that must exist within the darkness. Kizelu matzeh, and that's where right afterwards he says, because this zelu matzeh, everything created with light has darkness, everything created with darkness has light. We, every single one of us, has the ability to either awaken the Yemei HaTov, the goodness that is within every day, or the Yemei HaRa, or the darkness that is within the day. It's dependent on our spiritual work. And how strongly, and you have to be clear about this, how strongly we're pushing ourselves to diminish our desire to receive for the self alone. If a person is still, today, is still focused on their desire to receive for the self alone, their selfishness, they are concealing the goodness of this day with the darkness of this day. When a person is pushing him or herself to go against the desire to receive for the self alone, then they force the light within the goodness of this day to be revealed outside of the darkness of this day. But chas v'shalom, a person who doesn't, he forces the darkness of this day to conceal the goodness of this day. If you do not have the certainty that even within there must be, within the days of darkness, goodness, you'll never be able to experience the goodness of that day. Every single day. It's not that there's good days and bad days. Every day has its goodness and its darkness. The question is, which of them will you experience? When you think you're experiencing the good, okay, maybe you don't have to worry about it. But when you're experiencing the darkness, King Solomon tells us, pay attention. If it's a day of darkness, you have to know that there's goodness within there. It's up to you whether you'll be able to experience it. To the degree that you have certainty that within that darkness there is light. It's not easy to have that certainty. Because most of us think, okay, no, there's darkness now, again time, but tomorrow or next month, then there'll be light. But today is all dark. No. Within every darkness there is goodness, there is light. It's up to you to push yourself by awakening certainty of the goodness within the darkness, by awakening certainty in the light of the Creator, by destroying your desire to receive for the self alone, to reveal the goodness that was within the darkness of this day. העיקר שצריך להסתכל ולהאמין שגם בהרע בעצמו, בחינת הימי רע, to know that within the days of darkness, גם שם יש טוב כי מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. That within that day, those days of darkness, there is light, and that certainty allows it to be revealed. This is, again, the secret of this Shabbat. Eila mishpatim asher tasim lifnehem. Before the time of the final redemption, as we said earlier, there is going to be those judgments, the Yemei Ra. But the understanding is that we have the ability, achieving certainty beyond where we are now, pushing ourselves to destroy our desire to receive for the self alone beyond what we've done until now. But to have certainty, in these days of darkness, there is great light. It's up to us. Through our certainty in the fact that there's great light within the day of darkness, through our certainty in the light of the Creator that we're pushing for with the meditation and Achtatam as we spoke about, and through the destruction of our desire to receive for the self alone, our ego, then you are able to reveal the light and the goodness within every single day. Sat Hashem, may we have the strength, the clarity, the certainty that we can draw on this Shabbat to do the work in a new way, to push ourselves to certainty that we've never had before, to push ourselves in our spiritual work like we've never had before. B'ezrat Hashem, we can be the people that in every single day reveal the Yemei HaTov, the goodness within every single day, and not confused or darkened or brought down by the Yemei Ra, by the darkness that can surround Chas v'Shalom every day. Shabbat Shalom.